After years of conquest, Rome had taken over what it looks like half off Europe, if not more. But Julius Caesar's hunger for power and conquest was not yet finished. He had control over Spain, France, Balkan countries, and more. But at this time, these countries was called Gaul, or Celtic tribes. Gaul was divided into several distinct tribal areas, each with its own leaders and cultures. During the time of Julius Caesar, who was active in Gaul from 58 BCE to 50 BCE, the region was composed of a patchwork of tribes, which was standing in the way of Julius' conquest, in which the Gallic War comes to play, which was a series of military campaigns waged by Julius Caesar. One of the Gallic tribe's leaders was Vercingetorix, whom was a chieftain of the Arverni tribe. The Arverni were located in the central part of Gaul, in what is now modern-day central France. After a series of campaigns in Gaul, Julius Caesar faced a united Gallic opposition led by Vercingetorix. The Gallic forces retreated to Alesia, a well-fortified town on a hill, and fortified it further to withstand a Roman siege. In Julius Caesar's journal, he claims he had gathered 50,000 legionaries and 5,000 cavalry, while the Vercingetorix had gathered between 80,000 and 100,000 men. Vercingetorix and the Gallic leaders implemented a sophisticated defensive strategy during the Battle of Alesia, recognizing the strategic importance of the location. The defensive measures were aimed at withstanding the Roman siege led by Julius Caesar, and also at deterring any relief forces that might come to aid the besieged city. The town of Alesia itself was heavily fortified. The inhabitants strengthened the existing defenses of the town, likely constructing walls, trenches, and other obstacles to make it a formidable stronghold. Inside Alesia, the Gallic defenders would have organized their forces and prepared for a prolonged siege. Over to Rome's side, Julius Caesar's strategy at the Battle of Alesia was a masterpiece of military engineering and tactics. Faced with the formidable defenses of Alesia and the potential threat from relief forces, Caesar devised a plan that involved building an extensive set of fortifications to create a double siege. This strategy aimed to put immense pressure on the Gallic defenders by forcing them to fight on two fronts simultaneously. Caesar ordered the construction of a series of fortifications, including walls, trenches, and other obstacles, to encircle the town of Alesia itself. These inner siege works were designed to isolate and contain the Gallic defenders within the town, cutting off their escape routes and supply lines. Simultaneously, Caesar directed the construction of another set of fortifications outside the town, facing away from Alesia. These outer siege works were intended to defend against the potential relief forces approaching from other Gallic tribes. They consisted of walls, ditches, and other defensive structures. By creating both inner and outer fortifications, Caesar effectively established a double siege. The Gallic defenders inside Alesia found themselves surrounded by Roman fortifications, making it difficult for them to break out. At the same time, the relief forces attempting to break the siege from the outside were confronted with the challenge of breaching the outer fortifications. The double siege forced the Gallic defenders to fight on two fronts, against Caesar's forces within the inner fortifications and to be able to communicate with the relief forces. This division of attention and resources placed immense pressure on the Gallic forces and significantly weakened their ability to resist the Roman siege. A significant Gallic reinforcement from other tribes, numbering in the tens of thousands, gathered to challenge Caesar's forces and lift the siege on Alesia. Julius Caesar wrote in his diary, "Caesar's assessment of Gallic reinforcements. Describing the Gallic relief force, I recorded, a significant Gallic reinforcement, numbering in the tens of thousands, gathered to challenge our forces. This emphasizes the magnitude of the challenge we faced. The Gallic relief force launched a coordinated assault on the outer Roman fortifications. This resulted in a fierce and protracted battle, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Romans, however, managed to hold their ground and ultimately repelled the Gallic relief force, securing their victory in the Battle of Alesia. The turning point at which the Roman Empire began to gain the upper hand and secure victory in a pivotal battle can be attributed to 5 key factors. 1. Defeat of the Gallic relief force. The turning point occurred when the Roman forces, under the command of Julius Caesar, successfully repelled the Gallic relief force that had gathered to break the siege. 2. Roman tactical adaptability. Despite the numerical disadvantage, the Romans demonstrated tactical adaptability and discipline. Caesar's forces effectively defended their fortifications, with the Roman soldiers displaying superior organization and training. They utilized their well-constructed defenses to withstand the Gallic assaults. 3. Coordinated Roman counterattacks. Following the initial resistance, the Romans launched coordinated counterattacks against the Gallic relief force. The Roman legions, stationed along both the inner circumvallation and outer contravallation, engaged the Gauls in fierce combat. This counteroffensive contributed to the Romans gaining the upper hand in various parts of the battlefield. 4. Internal dynamics within Alesia. Simultaneously, within the walls of Alesia, internal dynamics played a role in the turning point. The Gallic defenders, led by Vercingetorix, were facing increasing difficulties. The prolonged siege had depleted their supplies, and morale was likely waning. The failure of the external relief force to break the Roman encirclement may have further demoralized the defenders. 5. Vercingetorix's surrender. Realizing the dire situation and the diminishing prospects for relief, Vercingetorix made the decision to surrender to Julius Caesar. This surrender marked the ultimate turning point in the Battle of Alesia, and by extension, the Gallic Wars. Vercingetorix's act of surrender symbolized the end of organized Gallic resistance against Roman rule. Vercingetorix had emerged as a symbol of Gallic resistance, rallying various tribes against the encroaching Roman forces. His surrender not only signified the end of a spirited attempt to preserve Gallic independence, but also shattered the illusion of a cohesive and formidable opposition. With the charismatic leader in Roman captivity, the unity that Vercingetorix had fostered among the Gallic tribes began to unravel. The defeat at Alesia and the subsequent submission of Vercingetorix sent shockwaves throughout Gaul. Many tribes, recognizing the futility of prolonged conflict against the disciplined Roman legions and the strategic brilliance of Julius Caesar, opted to submit to Roman authority. The alternative, they realized, was further conflict and the inevitable destruction that accompanied Roman military campaigns. The surrender of Vercingetorix served as a psychological and strategic turning point. It not only quelled the immediate threat posed by a united Gallic opposition, but also set the stage for a more systematic and efficient Roman conquest of Gaul. The defeated tribes became subject to Roman governance, contributing to the economic wealth and cultural amalgamation that characterized the Roman Empire's expansion. In the aftermath of Vercingetorix's surrender, the Gallic Wars entered a new phase, one characterized by the consolidation of Roman power and the gradual assimilation of Gaul into the Roman Empire. The surrender of key tribal leaders and the submission of numerous communities marked the end of organized Gallic resistance and paved the way for a lasting Roman presence in the region.